What up, though, everybody, and welcome to Lions Nation Unite. I am Spencer Raxter of Woodward Sports, and I appreciate you being here. Make sure you smash that like button, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and give Lions Nation Unite a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and X. Lions Nation Unite is a platform created by Herman to bring different content creators from different walks of life together on one platform so we can keep you guys up to date with the latest news in the Detroit Lions community and what's going on there. Now, I today have a certain thing that I want to talk to you guys about, and that is Jahmyr Gibbs and some things coming out about Jahmyr Gibbs, where he is, where he ranks on the NFL scale for running backs. And before we do that, I just want to break down his season a little bit. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had a very, very good sophomore season where he was named to his second consecutive Pro Bowl as a Detroit Lion. He led the league with 20 total touchdowns. He led the league with 16 touchdowns on the ground, and he finished with 1,929 all-purpose yards, 1,412 of them coming via the ground, and then the other 517 coming through the air, where he caught 52 of his 63 attempts or targets, and scored 4 touchdowns. Last year, I think Jahmyr Gibbs really showed that he is one of the most versatile backs in the NFL. He is just as good when it comes to receiving the ball out of the backfield as he is when it comes to running the ball out of the backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs can do it all for the Detroit Lions. I know there was a lot of hearsay when he first got into the league. Is he big enough to run between the tackles? Is he skilled enough to run between the tackles in the NFL? And I think he's kind of put all of those concerns about his game to bed, as he's shown that he is just as effective running outside of the tackle box as he is running between the tackles. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs proved last year that he is in the upper echelon of talent when it comes to running backs in the National Football League. And executives, coaches, and scouts around the NFL were polled to talk about their top 5 running backs in the NFL. And here is how it shakes out. This is according to NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. The top 10 running backs in the NFL for 2025 at 10. You see Alvin Kamara, a guy that got a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs got a lot of comps too when he was coming out of Alabama. You have number 9, Joe Mixon, who had a very good year for the Houston Texans after multiple great years in Cincinnati. It was impressive to see what he did in Houston because he didn't really have an offensive line to do it behind. Number 8, you got James Cook. He really took a big role in that offense for the Buffalo Bills. I don't know. Having Josh Allen, I think, helps a running back when you have so many guys that have to account for your quarterback. But James Cook had a good year. I'm not going to shake it there. Jonathan Taylor checks in at number 7. Obviously, the former stud at Wisconsin. He's had a very good career for the Indianapolis Colts. At number 6, you got Josh Jacobs. In his first year at Green Bay, he showed that it really wasn't a fluke what he did in his last year there in Las Vegas. Josh Jacobs, one of the good running backs in the league. At number 5, you got Christian McCaffrey. I don't know how long he's going to be in the top 5, obviously dealing with another pretty debilitating injury last year. We'll see if those things start to add up to him. And then you got your top 4, and I think this is kind of consensus around the NFL. You have at least who is in the top 4, maybe not where they are. But number 4, you got Bijan Robinson. Number 3, Jahmyr Gibbs. Number 2, Derrick Henry. And number 1, the reigning offensive player of the year, Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm not mad at this. Like if you want me to get outraged because Jahmyr Gibbs was ranked 3rd in this list, you relax a little bit. Do I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football? I do. Do I have statistics to back up my thought of Jahmyr Gibbs being the best running back in football? I do. But if you put Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley ahead of him, I'm not going to be mad because I think that there are still some questions about Jahmyr Gibbs' durability, as we've seen Derrick Henry obviously shoulder the load of being the bell cow for pretty much his entire existence, collegiate, high school, or the NFL. Derrick Henry is that guy, and he has shown that he can take the brunts of a full season, as has Saquon Barkley. He went out there and he had an amazing season when he was asked to do a lot for the Philadelphia Eagles. So putting either or both of those guys ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm not too mad at. I'm not going to freak out about. But I personally do believe Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football. Like I said, he had most touchdowns on the ground in the NFL. He had the most touchdowns overall for a running back with 16 on the ground and 20 overall. He is the most explosive running back in the NFL, and I've got statistics to back that. Here is most 10-plus yard gains. This is receiving or rushing amongst any running back since 2023. And there you see in the number one spot at that list, 97 gains of 10-plus yards for Jahmyr Gibbs over the past two seasons. Bijan Robinson behind him at 94, Saquon at 89, Derrick Henry at 87, and then James Conner also at 87. So that, again, is with Jahmyr Gibbs splitting a backfield. All of those guys, Bijan splits with Tyler Algier. No, he doesn't. That's Bijan's backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery is a legitimate split. They legitimately share that backfield, and he still has more 10-yard gains than any other running back in the National Football League. He is by far the most explosive runner in the league. I think you could go out there and say he is the most explosive player in the NFL, maybe only behind his teammate, Jameson Williams. Jahmyr Gibbs is a menace when he gets the ball, whether it's running between the tackles, whether it's running an outside zone scheme off of the hip of one of his big tackles, whether that be Taylor Decker or Penei Sewell, or catching the ball in space out of the backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs is a nightmare for defenses because of his elusiveness, his ability to stop and start on a dime, and just his pure flat-out breakaway speed. There are some things that you cannot teach in the National Football League, and speed is one of them, and Jahmyr Gibbs has that in spades. To back that, this is from Ian Hartitz on Twitter. Running back highest explosive run rates in 2024. Jahmyr Gibbs has a 13.6% explosive run rate in 2024, meaning 13.6% of his carries were explosive plays. That was number one in the league. Behind him, you see Derrick Henry, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins, and Jordan Mason. Jahmyr Gibbs is the most explosive back in the league. Jahmyr Gibbs is a lightning bolt in a bottle, ready to be uncorked at any time for this Detroit Lions offense. I believe if he was given the same amount of carries, if he was given the lion's share like Saquon Barkley was in Philadelphia, he would put up better statistics. I think he is a better back. I think he is more complete. He can do everything you need him to do. And I know, listen, Saquon Barkley, if you have Saquon or Derrick Henry over Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to be mad at you. It's a very sane take to have. I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is better. And I think that you look at these stats and what he's doing with a true split backfield, not like, oh, he's got Tyler Algier, or, oh, they have Keaton Mitchell. No, he's got David Montgomery, another top 15 running back in the NFL, and they truly have a split backfield with two workhorses in it. And I've got another stat here. This is from our football guy, Al. Shout out to Al. He says highest single season yards per touch since 2013. This is minimum 250 touches. Tied third with Todd Gurley, you have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry last year for Baltimore, 6.1 yards per touch. Number two, you have Alvin Kamara in 2020 at 6.3 yards per touch. And at number one, for the highest single season yards per touch since 2013 is Jahmyr Gibbs with 6.4 yards per touch. That means you get a first down every two times you give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. He is an animal. He is a monster. He is an unstoppable force in the National Football League, and I believe he is just getting started. I do think you see the Lions turn it up a little bit with Jahmyr Gibbs next year. I think you see them lean into him more, where David Montgomery truly becomes a situational back. I think you're going to see a lot of David Montgomery inside the 20s, whether that be in the red zone, whether that be trying to get out of your own end zone, or short yardage situations, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, all of that type of stuff. That screams David Montgomery. Let's see some David Montgomery. But between the 20s, I want to see the Lions offering teams a strict diet of Jahmyr Gibbs. This guy is lightning in a bottle. As you can see, he has the highest yards per touch in the NFL in a single season since 2013 at 6.4 yards per touch. He has a 13.6 explosive carry rate, and he has the most 10-yard gains in the NFL for a running back since 2023. The guy is magic when you give him the ball, and he makes things happen. I believe the Detroit Lions should show teams a consistent and steady diet of Jahmyr Gibbs unless they are in short yardage or goal line situations. I love David Montgomery. I love what David Montgomery does for this team. I love what he brings for this team. But Jahmyr Gibbs is a playmaker, a game breaker, and an absolute talent that you cannot keep bottled in the sideline anymore. Last year, we really saw what he did. It was absolutely insane, where the guy is averaging 6.4 yards per touch, where he is averaging, where is it? Let me see real quick. 83 rushing yards per game. He is averaging 5.6 yards per attempt on the ground, and he only received 250 carries. While you look at, let me just make sure, Saquon Barkley. Let's see how many carries Saquon had last year. Yeah, last year, Saquon Barkley had 95 more carries than Jahmyr Gibbs. 95 more carries than Jahmyr Gibbs. He had about 500, 600 more yards. Only about 300 more all-purpose yards. If you give Jahmyr Gibbs 345 carries in a season, he will break the rushing record. So everybody that loves what Saquon Barkley did, no, nothing wrong there. Over 2,000 yards rushing. Almost, where was he? Almost 2,300 all-purpose yards, 15 touchdowns, very impressive, in a total of 378 touches. 76 more touches than Jahmyr Gibbs had last year. I think it's time for the Lions to lean into their young stud at running back. Like I said, he is lightning in a bottle. If you give Jahmyr Gibbs 345 touches, or 345 carries, which I'm not asking for, but that would be the amount of carries that Saquon Barkley got last year. He would break the rushing record. I don't know if his body would be able to hold up receiving that many carries. That is something we would have to see. But he would be absolutely unstoppable, and he would bulldoze the record book if you gave that man 340 carries. So I'm excited to see what the Lions do next year. Jahmyr Gibbs, like I said, one of the most explosive players, if not the most explosive player in the National Football League, and I expect the Lions to go out there and to use him like such. I expect to see him take a much more advanced role in the Lions offense next year, and I really can't wait for it. Jahmyr Gibbs ranked 3rd by NFL executives, coaches, and scouts in the NFL when it comes to a running back. I don't think he's going to be lower than 2nd for a long time when it comes to his career. Jahmyr Gibbs is a special, special talent, and the Detroit Lions are going to use him as such. Again, appreciate you guys tapping in. I am Spencer Raxter of Woodward Sports. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe here on Lions Nation Unite, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Head on over to lionsnationunite.com to get some amazing merch. lionsnationunite.com. Lions Nation Unite. Peace.